go check out DetroitSportsPodcast.com. It's the hub for our podcast. You can check out 24/7 online deals. You can save money on car rentals. You can check out the DSP shop. You can buy tickets. Anything at all regarding Detroit sports, you can find at DetroitSportsPodcast.com. It's also the place where you can go to download the DocNJock program. Thank you guys for your support. Check out our website, DetroitSportsPodcast.com. It's the free and easy way to help us continue to provide great sports content. www.DetroitSportsPodcast.com. Thank you in advance.
We appreciate y'all.
Hey everybody, this is Freddie Cohen of ESPN Radio. When I'm not talking about breaking news or breaking news on ESPN Radio, I'm always a fan and listening to the Detroit Sports Podcast, and so should you.
All I want to know if you got your popcorn ready. Do you got your popcorn ready?
5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes! Unbelievable.
I said, are you strong? They said, I'm strong if you strong. And I said, we strong then.
I'm a man. I'm 40.
Darren McCarty gets his shots in at Claude Lemieux. And look who came all the way out to try to help. Patrick Waugh. Oh, my goodness.
You are listening to the Doc and Jock Show on the Detroit Sports Podcast.
Yes, sir. Cousin Adam, what's going on? Welcome, everybody, to episode 80 of the Detroit Sports Podcast. I am the Doc, John Macaroon. Joining me is my co-host for the majority of all these 80 podcasts, Adam, the Jock Strozinski.
There was like 2 I wasn't here for.
It's all good, brother. What's going on?
Not too much, man. Hey, I got a question for you. Because when we were putting the rundown together, we didn't get a chance to talk about this because this is a little bit newer, and we just didn't have room for it in the rundown. But might as well do it here in the intro. Joe Johnson, how do you feel about Joe Johnson from the Brooklyn Nets?
What's going on with him? What's the story? What's the scoop?
So the Pistons reached out and were looking to possibly trade Brandon Jennings for Joe Johnson.
Oh, where did you hear this interesting news? Very interesting.
This is breaking. This is new. It was all over SportsCenter and Bleacher Report. On the cover of it and just the face value of it, I don't necessarily have a problem with it. Joe Johnson's a declining player, though. He's on the later half of his career. He averages about 15 points a game, roughly 4 assists, and about 3 blocks a game, or 3 rebounds a game, I apologize. So, okay, I guess. He's not really the point guard type, and that's what Brandon Jennings is, and that's what you need. That's what I think this Pistons team is lacking right now, is that leadership from that point guard position. But Joe Johnson comes with a $23 million contract, and he comes with a $24 million contract next year.
Okay, with those numbers, I would say no. I still say that you should stick with Brandon Jennings. I mean, surgeries nowadays are well advanced. He can still come back. You have to wait and see, because just look at what the Pistons did when Brandon Jennings was well. He was able to spark the team and was able to get these guys going. So that's very interesting. I don't think that they're going to do it. I was, though, quite surprised, though, that Stan Van Gundy came out and said that Greg Monroe is likely not to be traded. That's the guy that I would think that if you could shop him around, you could get something for him. But it's unbelievable that that this situation has come to where you really can't do a whole lot right now to salvage this season. You're going to have to ride it out with who we got, and it's going to be an uphill battle, really, to battle for the 8th seed, for the right to get knocked out by Atlanta. That's really the ceiling for the Pistons so far, and that's just how it is, and it's really devastating. That Brandon Jennings injury really devastated this team, and it was so exciting. Like I said earlier, the Pistons were on the cusp of potentially being one of the all-time great stories, from that horrible start to potentially having a great season and a deep playoff run. Brandon Jennings got hurt, and look at that. Now he's being shopped for a guy like Joe Johnson.
Here's the thing. Two points real quick. Brandon Jennings is young still. Most of the people who blow out their Achilles, they tend to be a little bit older, and they have a hard time recovering from that. Brandon Jennings is young. He's 25, so there's a good possibility he recovers from this, comes back, and he's just as good as before. Maybe not being able to jump as high, maybe not being able to run as hard or cut as deep. I think he'll still be fine. And Greg Monroe, do you really want the Pistons to trade Greg Monroe? I think that's a piece that you try to work out some type of deal in the offseason to keep him here. He's one of those pieces you can build around. I think him, and you've got Drummond, and if Jennings can come back and can be at least 97% of the player that he was, you've got a dynamic trio in the building blocks to move forward to the next season. So I think you keep all these guys, and if you lose, you lose. All right, you're going to get a draft pick, and you can try to make something happen. I like where Stan Van Gundy's going with this team, though. Coming into the season, we thought this team was nothing but crap. They bubbled up a little bit. Jennings got hurt, and now the water's kind of finding its level here. But I think they're going to be okay. I think going forward they're going to be all right. And I don't want to lose Greg Monroe. I want to keep Greg Monroe. I want him here.
Yeah, if you can get him to stay. When Brandon Jennings...
When Josh Smith was here, I don't think there was any way he was staying. I think he had one foot out the door and he was ready to roll.
Yeah, there's
no Josh Smith. It's not blocking anything for him on the floor. He's comfortable where he's at, and I think he's found his spot and he's found his comfort level, especially playing underneath Stan Van Gundy now.
Yeah, but the losing has to take a toll. He just got a little taste of success, all the turnover, all the chaos, and the management with the Pistons, I think is leading to Greg Monroe wanting to test free agency. And he would be smart too, because I think a guy like that, if he had a change of scenery, his style and play on the court would improve, and he could even grow as a player. I just think he needs to be around a winning environment, and he needs to be around players that can help him. And right now the Pistons are really in a rebuilding mode, and it just stinks because I think he would have definitely stayed had Brandon Jennings not gotten hurt. So this injury, when we look back in a few years, could be a catalyst for significant change for the Pistons. And then we could be telling stories of what if Brandon Jennings didn't get hurt. But interesting point that Brandon Jennings for Joe Johnson. Interesting. Before we get to all of the great topics in Detroit sports, very interesting weekend. Watched the Saturday Night Live 40th anniversary special over the NBA All-Star Game. And it turned out that the All-Star Game turned into basically a three-point shooting contest. Half of the shots taken were three-point shots. Come on now. I would rather have the game be all dunks than all three-pointers.
Dude, there's no defense played. Come on.
Yeah,
Come on. You just go out there, get the ball, and just chuck it. Did you see how Steve Kerr was breaking down plays? He was like, here's the deal. We're going to win the ball, and we're going to pass it to this guy. This guy's going to pass it to this guy, and somebody just score. That's how you coach these guys. You just roll the ball out there, and you let them go do whatever they want to do, man. It's like a backyard game. It's a pickup game. That's all it is.
I did not watch one single second of the All-Star Game. Once I knew that Saturday Night Live was rolling out a 3.5-hour special, I would rather choose to laugh than watch the NBA game. But if you tuned in to watch Saturday Night Live, you really had a chance to enjoy the night. It was very entertaining. It was very fun. Lots of laughs, lots of cameo appearances. But a point that was really disappointing and kind of left a foul taste in your mouth, they hyped it up all in the hour-long special before the show started at 8. Eddie Murphy, 30 years since he'd been on stage. Eddie Murphy's coming back to Saturday Night Live. Is he going to do a little skit? Is he going to reprise Buckwheat? Is he going to do one of his famous roles? Then he gets introed by Chris Rock, basically a 5-minute montage, stating that Eddie Murphy was a catalyst of saving the show when the show was down. So he gets a 5-minute speech saying how Eddie Murphy's one of the greatest comedians of all time. He gets on stage, he claps, and it was an epic dud. I mean, it was horrible. He didn't do nothing. It was really disappointing. Thumbs down to Eddie Murphy. That was a low light of the night. I really liked Opera Man. That was one of my favorite characters. I liked seeing
Eddie Murphy's wife's still looking good, whoever she is, that new one. And she might not be a tranny. Is she a tranny? I don't know.
That's the first.
He likes prostitutes with boy parts, so I don't know. Whatever.
No, it was a great night, but minus Eddie Murphy's disappointing night. I mean, you could at least tell a joke. And then you got Jerry Seinfeld. He comes right out there, boom, tells jokes. He's funny, and he got the crowd engaged. Eddie Murphy, what? Are you too cool for the room? What's going on, Eddie? I mean, it was really disappointing, especially with the potential that it could have. If he could have brought the house down had he brought his A game, and he just didn't do it. Disappointing, but otherwise, one skit was really a disaster. The Californian skit, in my mind, went way too long. It was stupid, but it was saved by Bradley Cooper kissing Betty White, so that was funny. But the whole skit was way too long, and then it ended with David Spade and the former Update girl just kind of standing there as flight attendants ending the skit, and it was kind of weird and poorly written, so I didn't like it. But
I love Celebrity Jeopardy. Celebrity Jeopardy was great. I love Celebrity Jeopardy. You can watch all those over and over and over again, and they're outstanding. So Celebrity Jeopardy was good. That was one of my faves.
All right, sir. We got lots to get to on this podcast. We are going to talk about the Lions. We got to get into it. We got to dig deep. We got to understand, can this team play well? Can this team get victories without Ndamukong Suh? Who is a likely candidate to replace him? It's already on this team. Stay tuned and listen, and we'll talk about who is a potential replacement for Suh if he leaves, if he takes a large free agent contract, wherever that may be. We're going to play a round of Jock Jams. The Doc has 3 great questions lined up for the Jock, and he's always ready to deliver. To end the show, we got to talk a little bit about the Red Wings. Jimmy Howard's played a couple more games. We get a chance to evaluate how the Wings played against Montreal, how they're playing against tougher competition, and the debate that's been raging for quite a while now for the last week. The whole idea of Sergei Fedorov. He came back into town on Friday for the Michigan Sports Hall of Fame. He was inducted, and the debate kind of has started. Should Fedorov's number 91 be hanging in the rafters? How does he compare to the elite in the National Hockey League? And the great debate that's kind of starting, that's very interesting, that's gone on for a little bit of time, but that's resurfaced since Fedorov's induction. How does Sergei Fedorov compare to our current elite Russian player, Pavel Datsyuk? We'll get into that debate. All that on this episode of the Detroit Sports Podcast. You ready to kick this bad boy off? You ready to kick off episode number 80?
Can't believe we've done 80 of these joints. Let's do it, brother. Come on.
The Ndamukong Suh saga continues.
That's your boy.
A lot of different positions going on. When we had Dan Miller on from Fox 2, the Detroit Lions play-by-play voice, he basically came on and said, hey, if Ndamukong Suh leaves, this team is likely to have a significant fall-off. But other writers, other people are writing that there's a potential for this team to play very well. You just look around NFL.com. If you look at older articles, Daniel Williams at NFL.com wrote an article basically stating that if Suh leaves, there is a chance that the Lions can continue to play well and continue to win games. He broke down how the Lions defense got a lot of turnovers. He highlighted the play of DeAndre Levy, of Glover Quinn, of the secondary that got a lot of turnovers. And he wrote a great article at NFL.com stating that these Lions have a chance with some free agent pickups, with drafting well, using that money, should Suh leave, to continue that success and not have a big fall off. So I'm very interested to get your point of view. If Suh leaves, do you think the Lions can recover and win 7 to 9 games next season and not have a significant drop off? I don't think they're going to win 11 with that schedule, but can they have success next season, win games without Ndamukong Suh on this roster?
If Terrell Austin was picked up as the Atlanta Falcons head coach, I would be so nervous about Suh leaving. I would feel like you need to get Suh. You need, at any cost, you got to lock him up and you got to be able to plug him in and keep him in this defensive front. With Terrell Austin staying, I'm not as worried. I'm not as concerned. I feel like Terrell Austin has a great mind for defense, plugging guys in and getting the best out of them. You've seen it with Nick Fairley. All right. Nick Fairley was a player who would show up, would be out of shape, didn't really put the time or the effort in. Nick Fairley last year, before he blew out his knee, was having his best season in the pros. So I feel like Terrell Austin has that Midas touch when it comes to running the defensive scheme and knowing how to get the best out of his guys. You said it yourself, and we talked about it before the season even started. We thought for sure the defense was going to be the lower half of the league, was going to be the albatross that hung around this team's neck. Instead, it was the offense that almost submerged this team, and the defense is what kept it afloat and helped this team get into the playoffs and almost helped this team win a playoff game. So I think with Terrell Austin's scheme and his ability to sit there and recognize what he needs for that defensive line and for just the whole defensive scheme, I feel like the Lions will be okay if Suh was to walk. So I'm not as concerned.
Yeah, now I don't want to get things twisted and have everyone say, "Oh, these guys don't want Ndamukong Suh." If Suh would to negotiate and to play for the Lions at a fair price, by all accounts, we want him on this team. He's a beast.
Most definitely.
But his number is so huge. He's going to want max money, and he's going to want a significant portion of your cap. In the NFL, you can't have your top 3 guys taking up 50% of the cap. Even if it goes up, it's ridiculous. If you sign Suh, if you franchise tag him, and his number is around $26 million, you're going to have to cut a lot of pieces and go with a lot of younger players.
Like 26.9. Almost 27 mil, dude.
That is a ridiculous number. you would have to cut Calvin Johnson. You would have to mess with the core group of this team to keep that together.
Do you realize that the average amount for the top 5 players in the defensive tackle position, they earn just over $11 million. This guy as a defensive tackle wants something like $20 million. The top 5 number for quarterbacks isn't even that much money. It's insane how much money he wants. And yes, he's a great player. You could draft the next 10 years and not find a guy like Ndamukong Suh. But how do you justify paying a guy what he wants? I know he feels like he's worth it, and I know that he commands a double team, and he does a whole lot for this defensive front, and he helped make this team a lot better than what we thought it was going to be. But how do you justify paying a guy this much money, wrapping up this many dollars in one player? How do you sit there, then go out and then try to fill other holes that you have on this team? If they were to sign him, they're going to have 3 players locked in at over $20 million a year with cap numbers. It's ridiculous. There's no way you can do this as a franchise and survive. There's no way. You can't do it. As much as it would suck, because it's really, if you're a Lions fan, you know the drafting history. You sit there, you look back at it, and it's hard for a team, for us as Lions fans, to sit there and look and say, hey, we drafted this product. We helped develop this product. We brought this product in and we watched it grow and flourish. And now we have a top 2 defensive tackle in the game. And now we've got to let him walk, or we got to watch him walk out that door. That's hard to do. But if you sit there and you sign him for a record amount of money, you're going to kill your team. This team's not going to be able to grow or do anything. So it sucks. It's almost like Ndamukong Suh's not negotiating in good faith. And I'm not even asking for a hometown discount. He's just asking, I feel like he's asking for the moon and the stars, and he wants the sun too. You know, he wants everything. And how are you going to do that? You're one player. You're one player on a defensive front of 4 guys. And I know that you sit there and you command a double team, sometimes a triple team, and you're the nastiest, baddest man out there. But you know what? There's 53 other guys on this roster and tons of guys who play on both sides of the ball here, all right? I need you to sit there. I need you to be flexible. If you want to win a championship, you gotta give and take a little bit here. I just feel like he's not negotiating in good faith.
Can you blame him, cuz? You know that his agents, he's talking around town. People have asked him, hey, are you going to stick with the Lions? Are you going to be here? Are you going to stay with us? And he's telling people it's not my decision. So he is removing himself from the negotiations, and he's saying, this is a business. This is now time for me to talk business. This is not show friends. This is show business. And he would be remiss if he looks back and said, oh, I took less money than his worth. Other athletes, the league, other agents advise players not to do that, because once you set that precedent, then the league and other owners will take advantage of that rather quickly. You got to get as much as you can in this violent sport, and you can never blame a guy who's going to seek attention, who's going to go out there. Someone's going to pay him. You know,
I'm not asking him to take less, right? I'm not. I'm just asking him to come to the table and negotiate fairly. And anything that he wants, his agent's going to do. If he told his agent, I want to stay in Detroit, make a contract worth it for me so I can stay in Detroit, his agent would figure it out, and the Lions would sit there and come to the table and give it to him. They would back a Brinks truck up and give it to him. But this guy wants, like I said, the moon, the stars, and he wants the sun too. If he can go out there and he can reach that rock called Pluto because it's no longer considered a planet, he'd ask for that too. The guy wants everything. And yes, he is a dominant force on that front. But you can't give a guy that much money. You can't do it. And I don't feel like the Lions will have a significant drop-off if he's gone. I don't feel like they're going to sit there and they're going to be that much worse for wear. I think Ndamukong Suh is maybe plus 2 games on the win column. You know what I'm saying? They won, 10 games this year, 11 games this year. So next season, maybe 8, 9, and then you sit there and you kind of start to rebuild that front line a little bit. And I think you'll be okay. I think that front will be competitive, if not more competitive, depending on how they structure it. Earlier in the year, we were talking about them possibly moving from a 4-3 to a 3-4 defensive front. So in the draft, you go out and you get your nose tackle done, and you plug your nose tackle in there, and then you've got your defensive ends. Ndamukong Suh's contract and Ndamukong Suh's cap number is bad business from the old CBA, and this is what happens. You bring a player of his stature in, a guy who is worth every penny of the $22 million that he earns, and then he wants that much more. He wants that much more money, and you just can't do it. But he's worth it. You just can't do it because we have a salary cap And the salary cap is there to make sure everybody plays by the same rules. Some teams like the New England Patriots are smarter and can sit there and kind of get around the salary cap and the issues that the salary cap causes. The Detroit Lions have signed so many bad contracts over the years that this right now is what's happening. And you're going to probably have to see one of the greatest defensive tackles in the game, at least currently, walk out that door.
Okay, the Lions, though, do have options. There's another free agent on this team that the Lions could sign that could be a stopgap should Suh walk out the door. A player that didn't play towards the end of the season, had issues early on with his weight, Nick Fairley. He was recently acquitted of his DUI charge. He's a very happy guy. His case is very interesting. He was a guy that was challenged by the organization, by Caldwell in the preseason. We were asking in earlier podcasts, what are they doing with Nick Fairley? Why are they jerking him around like this, putting him in as a backup, then inserting him in during the preseason? Then he had, by all accounts, a decent season prior to his injury. And then when he was hurt, he didn't blow up. He maintained his status, he maintained his weight, and he gained the respect of defensive coordinator Terrell Austin. They asked about him. They said, hey, what do you think about Nick Fairley? And he said, he earned my respect in that he was hurt. He didn't slack off. He didn't blow up. He didn't hit McDonald's heavy. He didn't eat all those cheeseburgers. He didn't, go to all the restaurants around town. He maintained his weight. He, I believe, could be a viable option if you sign him to play. But he is a question mark in that if you give him money, if you show him some love, will he be that guy that's going to be consistent for you and get on the field? Suh, warrior. He's rarely hurt. He plays injured. He plays nicked up, and he's highly effective. So Nick Fairley is a question mark, but I think he could be a target. He could be a guy that you could bring back, plug him in on the defensive line, and with the improvements of the linebackers and with the beast Ziggy Ansah, you might not have a significant drop off on the defensive line.
Nick Fairley is a guy who's motivated by something totally different than Ndamukong Suh. Ndamukong Suh is motivated by being the greatest defensive tackle of all time and being the nastiest man out there. Nick Fairley is motivated by something entirely different. But at certain times, you've seen flashes of what Nick Fairley is and what Nick Fairley could and should be. He sits there and he can blow through double teams and get to the quarterback. He can sit there and blow up a run and take it back for a 5-yard loss. Nick Fairley has the talent. It's the motivation. It's the dedication. It's staying in the gym. Like you said, not going to the McDonald's drive-thru and getting the 3 Big Macs and getting the supersized fries and getting the gallon jug of Coke. It's getting into the gym and putting the work in and putting the effort in. So if you can get to Nick Fairley and you can get him motivated, I don't have a problem giving him a contract. I was actually really upset that they didn't sit there and they didn't wait till this year to sit there and either reject that option on his contract. I was really upset when they did that last year because you had another year where you could have sat there and as a team, you could have kept that option on him. So if Ndamukong Suh does leave, you wouldn't sit there and be scrambling to try to plug that hole with another guy because you would have Nick Fairley there, and then you can go out and draft the next guy. So bad business by the Lions, again, coming back to bite him in the butt. If you can get Nick Fairley motivated, I think he's a talent and he's a good player. He's a good replacement. He's not Ndamukong Suh, but who in this league really is Ndamukong Suh? So you get Nick Fairley, you get him motivated, you get him back on that front line, and you maybe put a little bit more emphasis on him and make him become a leader. Make him stand up. Make him do what has to be done. And I think maybe the reward might be there for you as a Lions organization.
Our Twitter and Facebook mailbox has blown up. Some examples. Rich Nelson says yes, because next season the offense is going to be running on all cylinders, and the D will either be great with him or average without. So a lot of people have said, you know what, they're starting to sway a little bit, go to the side of saying, hey, we can win without Ndamukong Suh. We have options. The draft, while the early round picks were a question mark for the Lions, we all know, we all talked about the number. We all talked about Mayhew and his horrible tight end pick. But with continued success, rebuilding through the draft and free agency, the Lions have a chance to continue success without Suh. And I agree with that. I think if Suh should leave and he's not a part of this team, you look to Nick Fairley, you look to rebuild through free agency, and you're going to have so much money to spend to add depth that what could this team do with that success? We don't know. Martin Mayhew is a guy that keeps things close to the vest. Hit or miss. He's getting a little bit better with the draft in the later rounds. It's just the early round picks, the impact guys, not so great. And what are you going to do? But speaking of the draft, The Lions sit at the 23rd spot, and everyone's thinking, okay, if Suh is going to leave, then the natural spot to look for is defensive tackle. How should the Lions attack the first round of the draft? And do you think they should target offense, defense, and are there some players that maybe you've looked at to say, hey, this guy could be a fit for the 2015-2016 Detroit Lions?
This is going to sound like a little bit of a cop-out, but everything hinges on Ndamukong Suh right now. And you know my favorite time of year is right around the corner. It's combine time. It's the underwear Olympics. Dudes are going to be sitting there jogging all around, doing sprints and jumping as high as they can and lifting stuff and putting it down and then running routes. And you know I love the underwear Olympics. I sit on my couch with popcorn and I watch dudes just sit there and just do what they do.
No? You're really weird.
I am really weird. So until the combine's over, I'm not going to give you any names. But if Ndamukong Suh does leave, I think your first round of the draft, you have to address that defensive front. I think if you would have picked up a guy like Aaron Donaldson last year, you wouldn't have to worry about this. But again, more bad moves by the Detroit Lions. Instead, you go and you pick up Eric Ebron. I think if Suh leaves, then you sit there and you focus on defense. If Suh stays, I think you can then maybe look to add a running back to this team, or you can possibly go out and maybe pick up an offensive lineman. Because let's be honest, our offensive line, highly questionable, especially last year, coming off a season where they were one of the best. Now they were one of the worst. And I would just love to have a run game that doesn't even have to be lethal, but is at least productive. And I think helping build in the trenches on that offensive front would really help this team. So that's where my mind is.
Okay, good. I'm glad I did extra research and bring some names to the table.
Oh, please do.
Because on your sheet here, you wrote, how should the Lions attack the
I said
first
be
round?
specific.
Be specific.
I was specific.
Okay.
I told about certain positions.
Okay.
I don't have any names because I haven't watched the Underwear Olympics yet.
For some reason, the Lions are adverse to signing defensive players in the first round. So call out or make an announcement to the Lions organization. Please address the stinking defense. It was a strength last year, but let's make it an even...
Let's not rest on our laurels here.
That's right. Okay, fine. You drafted...
Build the biggest, meanest, nastiest defense you've ever seen.
You've drafted a tight end number 10. You've already gone astray based on what do you call the guy that you feel has the most talent. Instead of drafting for need, let's go draft for need. So there's 2 defensive tackles that I've targeted that a lot of people are talking about. The first one, not so heralded, but he's making a name for himself based on his play at the Senior Bowl.
Michael Sam?
You would like Michael Sam to be on the team. You and him could trade fashion advice.
He's a defensive end anyways. Go ahead.
Yeah. Iowa defensive tackle.
Is he a tight end?
No.
Does he have a tight end?
Iowa
Do you know?
defensive tackle Carl Davis, 6'5", 315-pound defensive tackle from Iowa. He really shined at the Senior Bowl. A lot of people are saying, wow, based on his performance, his size, his status, he could have moved up into the first round, and he could be a candidate for the Lions to take at number 23. But a name that is talked about by the names, the Mel Kipers and the guys that do the mock drafts. Number 90 from Texas, Malcolm Brown, defensive tackle, 6'2", 320 pounds. He's a junior coming out this year, and he was a 3-year player, emerged as one of the best defensive players in the nation. 2-year starter, was named a 2014 finalist for both the Bronco Nagurski Trophy and Outland Trophy. This dude's a beast.
So do you think he'll be there, though, when the Lions are drafting, or are they going to have to move up to get a guy like this?
No, I think he's a guy that by the early mock drafts can be there for the Lions based on people's needs and where the draft is slotting. Based on the Lions' luck, you know that the teams that are drafting above the Lions may do it, but
He'll
you have
go
a
to
couple.
pick right before.
Yeah, you have a couple options. Now, should the Lions not draft defense, I would be disappointed. I would be upset. I'd be frustrated. But then you
want
have
a guy
to look.
like Todd Gurley? Is that what you want?
You need a running back.
That's exactly what you want. I knew what you wanted.
You need your franchise running back, and you got to get him. This team has been without one for so long. You've done a good job plugging in a role player like a Joik Bell, but we don't want to knock anybody, but he's a role player. Joik Bell, standalone, will not get you to ultimate success. Reggie Bush, by all accounts, is going to be cut, likely to be let go, and his time in Detroit, for what it's worth,
It was very up and down.
Up and down.
Very up and down.
Inconsistent.
Yes.
I think it's time to move away from him. Go young at running back. If you decide to focus on the offense, you got to go running back. But I like Malcolm Brown. I like Carl Davis, defensive tackles, to replace Suh should he leave. Focus on the defense, running back if you don't. You confident at all that the Lions, what do you think? In your early estimation, do you think they draft for need, or do you think they do the same old?
Same old, man.
Best player available?
The heads are still the same up at the top of the Lions organization. So what they'll do is they'll go out, they'll identify a guy that they really want. They'll set their hearts on him, and the hope then is that guy actually turns out to be something decent, because they don't care. It doesn't matter to them if it's a stretch to get that guy. It doesn't matter if they could wait another round or two to pick a guy like that up. It doesn't matter if you could move back in the draft to get that guy. They have their heart set on that guy, so they're either going to move up, they're going to do whatever it takes to target that one guy that they fell in love with, and that's how they do it. And it's so annoying, because then you end up with crap like Eric Ebron, and which pisses me off, because seriously, last year during the draft, I almost broke my computer because I was watching it in class. I almost broke my computer. I stood up and I screamed and had to walk out of class. My teacher was like, "What the hell's going on here?" Yes. So that's what happens. They fall in love with these guys, and then these guys sit there and they come on the team, and you get no production. Zero production. All right. And I love Brian Zanders. You know, I love the Zan man. He's my dude, right? I really feel like he should be running this team and not Martin Mayhew, but it's what it is. So they're going to fall in love with something, and they're going to go and they're going to pick that up, whether it be for need or whether it be because it's the best player available in their estimation, or whether it be something else. It's going to be something that they fall in love with, and then they're going to go get it, because that's how it works. I'm all wrapped up. I'm riled up now. What the hell just happened here?
Okay, at Joe Boo 3 on Twitter says, if we have Fairley, I say yes, but we can't lose them both. I really believe that.
Again, bad moves by the Lions, because you could have had Fairley locked up for another season. You wouldn't have to worry about this. And it was under the new CBA, which means you're getting him at a discount. Now, if you bring him back, you got to pay him a little bit more.
Genius move, right,
Just
Mayhew?
Dumb. Dumb.
Yeah. Exactly. Why would exactly? It always seems like when the Lions make a silly move like this, it comes back to bite them in the butt. And you can't have that going forward. You're going to need a lot of things going well for you in this offseason. This could be the most important offseason for the Detroit Lions, and we have to have confidence that they're going to build this 2015 version the best way possible. It's going to be tough to fight it, but I'm still having hope. 11 wins for Jim Caldwell his first season. He's instilled a new attitude. I think that they're going to be successful in drafting. They're going to get the right free agents. They're going to target the guys that they need to help this team win, and I'm going to stick with the hope. A lot of people are long-standing fans with the Lions, and they're ready to give up a little bit because they haven't tasted that ultimate success. A lot of things always go wayward with the Lions, but it's a new regime. Year 1, 11 wins. How often have you heard a first-year coach go instill a new program and take the team to the Super Bowl? It's rather unheard of. The team right now, as we sit here in February on episode 80, they're trending upward. I can live with that. It's a good spot for us to be in.
I just hope they don't make dumb moves, man. That's really what it comes down to. I mean, in how long have we been talking about the Lions already? What, 15, 20 minutes?
30
minutes? Wow, see, time just flies when we talk Lions. And I think I've named like 3 really bad moves that they've made. And I mean, not even trying hard and really looking deep into it, just off the top of my head. So as long as they don't screw up, I'll be okay. We just need some production out of that first round draft pick, whoever he is, whatever it is. And just don't fall in love with an offensive player and then go reach for him. If he falls in your lap, he falls in your lap, but don't go reaching. I hate when they reach.
I think we've reached our limit for talking Lions without raising our blood pressure. So we'll step away for a minute, take a break, come back, rap about some more sports. Stay with us after the break. A round of Jock Jams. We'll have Jock deliver strong takes regarding the world of Detroit sports and around the country. Definitely check out the guys at the Detroit Sports Nation, DetroitSportsNation.com. Great website. They are unbelievable. They are killing it on Facebook. Give them a like at their Facebook page, Detroit Sports Nation, and definitely check out their website, DetroitSportsNation.com. Our collaboration with them has been excellent, and they continue to be a strong presence here on the podcast because they bring the noise and they have great content. So thank you guys again. We can't thank you enough.
You're the future of our business, and I know when you guys have a podcast like this, our future is in good hands.
You got to check out their stuff. I mean, I'm really impressed by it. You guys have probably one of the better ones I've seen in the country.
Wow.
In a short period of time, you've done good work. Look at me kissing your hand.
I know.
Detroit Sports Podcast, episode number 80. I just want to take a minute, thank everyone that's been contributing to our website, DetroitSportsPodcast.com. check out the website. It's the free and easy way to check us out, to support us. We can't thank the people who contribute to our podcast financially every month. Without your help, we couldn't do this. We couldn't upgrade. We couldn't tinker and find ways to take live phone calls. So thank you to those who are contributing. If you want to find out the free and easy way to help us, our website, DetroitSportsPodcast.com. It's our hub. It's the place to help us. Click those links. And now click on the sponsors. Some sponsors have hopped on board saying, hey, you guys are the real deal. Check out the sponsor page. Click those links and support those people who support us. We thank you enough. Thanks to the sponsors. Our newest sponsor, the Midwest Mixed Doubles Tennis Championship, is happening in early March. Check out our website, DetroitSportsPodcast.com. Click on the sponsor banner, and you can get all the information. It's a week-long mixed doubles tournament. I went to the Grosse Pointe Hunt and Tennis Club. I had a great time. The mixed doubles action was phenomenal.
It was a great event last year.
I'm a big fan. I'm happy to be affiliated with the guys. I'm happy to be affiliated with that tournament. The Midwest Mixed Doubles Championship is a great tennis tournament. If you're a tennis fan, check out our website, DetroitSportsPodcast.com. Click on the sponsor link. You can check out their banner and get information about the week-long mixed doubles tournament in March. It's a good time. You can sit up close. You can sit with all the other fans and watch great tennis action. You don't get a lot of professional style tennis here in Michigan, but if you're a fan of tennis, don't miss the Midwest Mixed Doubles Championships. Early March. Check it out.
It's a great event, too. If you're looking for something to do on the weekend, you got the finals that come up on Saturday and Sunday right there. Go check it out. It's a great time. Nice event. They do a really great job.
All right, cuz.
You got questions for me? You ready to do this?
Are you ready to tackle some of the key issues around Detroit and around the nation?
Oh,
let's do this.
I always come prepared, bro. Are you ready for this?
Cuz leading up to the NBA dunk contest, lots of media, lots of hosts, lots of people are saying, just kill this thing already.
Can
It's
you hit the
dying.
boo button. Boo. There it is.
Lots of people are saying this NBA dunk contest is weak. The all-stars that are really capable don't show up. It's really boring. The guys can't dunk. What happened? Zach LaVine, 19 years old, put on a show. And when his dunks were going on, Twitter blew up. It was one of those things where his dunks looked so easy, but they were so ferocious. I mean, he did it. Did you see the dunk? He took the ball behind his back and slammed it into, and dunked it. It was ferocious. And the good thing was his bravado. I liked it. He went out there knowing, I'm the best. He blew everyone away. And people are saying, we have a chance to have a key story should LaVine ever face off against LeBron James in the dunk contest. If the league was smart, a lot of people have said it, they would have announced LeBron versus LaVine next year for maybe some money, maybe for some accolades, maybe for some money for charity. They would have done something. But in your opinion, your thoughts on Zach LaVine, and did he save the NBA dunk contest?
Don't worry about it. LeBron's a little bitch anyway, so he's not going to do the dunk contest. But here's the deal. The dunk contest should have been canned probably 10 or 15 years ago. It's been awful. Did Zach LaVine save the dunk contest? No. Did he save it for this year? Yes. He made it interesting. It's something to talk about. There's something there now. If Zach LaVine comes out next year, does something more creative than what he did this year, or if he sat there and he raises the bar, so now everybody else who jumps in on the dunk contest comes out and does stuff, and they sit there and their creativity is more than what he did this year, then we have a possible story and maybe he saved it. But in order for the dunk contest to be saved, you're going to need at least 3, maybe 4 years of really good competition. Just guys going out there, pulling rabbits out of hats and just slamming the ball down and making it look good. What he did this year was nice. It's a story. There's something there. All right. On top of it, he's an interesting figure. He went to UCLA. He only played like 1 year, and he was like a bench warmer for the most part. Gets drafted. His dad played in the USFL. So he's an interesting story. There's some meat and potatoes there. So you want to kind of look at him, talk to him a little bit, find out what's really going on. And what he did was amazing. It was nice to see. It was fun. He didn't save it though. You got to come back next year. You got to do it again. Then you got to come back the year after that, and either you got to do it or somebody else has to do it. And then after that, somebody else has to sit there and come in and just be at least competitive. And then we can talk about the dunk contest being saved, and we can point to this one moment in time and say, yeah, Zach LaVine saved it.
Now, Another talking point from the All-Star game, Carmello Anthony, prior to the game, was talking to the media and announced, hey, I may have to shut it down based on an injury. So then what does he do? He plays 30 minutes in the All-Star game. Led to a huge debate, lots of issues. Why would you play in the All-Star game if you're going to be shut down in the future? Why are you risking injury in a meaningless game? Why wouldn't you save yourself for the team that's paying you a boatload of money? So a lot of talk about Carmello over the weekend, and the majority of the talk was not positive. So the thought came to my mind as to what would have happened had the Pistons not taken Darko and had they picked Carmello Anthony. So I thought, did the Pistons make the right choice in passing on Carmello? Just looking on his career right now as it turned out, would his career have played out like this with really minimal playoff success? He's looked at as a selfish player. He's looked at as one of the guys that you really don't want to play with if you want to have success. Your opinion, did the Pistons make the right choice passing on Carmello during the 2003 NBA draft?
This is a really complex question, all right, because you bring in the whole like butterfly effect here. Because if you pick up Carmello, do the Pistons actually win the championship in 2004? Because then you have to play Carmello, don't you? I mean, he's a number one pick. But, all right, this is what I'm going to do. All right, I think that because they won the championship, they made the right pick. But I think that Larry Brown was such an imposing figure and such an imposing coach that they wouldn't have necessarily played Carmello. They would have sat there, they would have made him sit on the bench, and when he would have got in, they would have worked him in slow. I don't think they would have sat there and they would have dumped Carmello into the lineup right away. So I think that no, they did not make the right choice. Did I just flip-flop on myself? I might have. No, they did not make the right choice in the 2003 NBA draft.
They should have taken him.
They should have took Carmello, because I think that Larry Brown would have sat there and kept Carmello on the bench, would have worked him in slowly. And then I think you would have had your superstar years after you won the championship. Whether he stayed or not, that's up for debate. But you would have had Carmello in your back pocket, so then when you wanted to sit there and move different guys around, you could have did that. And if Carmello was really unhappy here, you could have sat there and you could have traded him away for some other type of commodities, whether it be draft picks or whether it be other players that you could have sat there and kept and sat there and built around. So no, Joe Dumars boned the pick in 2003 by picking up the human victory cigar, Darko Milicic.
Yeah, and leads to another question is that would the Pistons have made 6 consecutive Eastern Conference Finals had they had a guy that's a ball-first shooter? See, the issue is this, as I think that the Pistons were team at that time. And to this day, they still are averse to getting superstars. They don't like ISO plays. They don't like superstars who come in and take all the shots. So I disagree with you. I think that they made the right choice on passing on Carmello. They should have drafted Dwayne Wade. So Carmello would have been the wrong choice. I think he would have came in and he probably, water finds its level. He would have at some point probably become angry, bitter that he wasn't getting all the attention, wasn't getting all the shots, and he would have maybe became a guy in the locker room similar, not with the devastating effect of Josh Smith, but with an impact. I think he would have split the locker room. A lot of people would have said, okay, pass the ball to Carmello. He can shoot. He can do different things, but he shoots a lot. And sometimes his shot selection is so poor. And the Knicks right now, cuz he's one of the reasons why the Knicks are in a horrible spot. Not saying he's the only reason.
Him for a bunch of years, but remember what that Detroit locker room had. There was a ton of veteran leadership in there. You had Ben Wallace, you had Chauncey Billups, you had Rip Hamilton, you had one loose screw with Rasheed Wallace, who I love. He's crazy, ball don't lie. And then you had Tayshaun Prince, who was long and lean and could sit there and jump from the free throw line and reject Reggie Miller. All right, so you had a ton of veteran leadership in there. And so I think maybe with that nucleus there, I mean, you had guys like, who'd you have? You had like a guy like a Darvin Ham in there who was like a journeyman player, kind of bounced around the league. You had a couple other guys who kind of bounced around the league. And I don't know why Darvin Ham sticks out to me. It just, whatever. I mean, there were like 5 other guys who were better than him. But anyways, there was enough of veteran leadership in there where I think you could have sat there and you could have imposed your will on Carmello, especially early on. Maybe later, no. But early on, I think you could have imposed your will and you could have brought him in. You could maybe brought him underneath your wing and nurtured him a little bit. Because you got to remember, he came straight out of Syracuse. He played 1 year at Syracuse, came straight out of Syracuse, where in Syracuse, he was the man. He was give me the rock and watch me do what I do. And that's what they did. And then he went to the NBA and it was the same deal. Give me the rock, watch what I do. Went to the Knicks. Please, I need more basketballs. If we've got 15 basketballs, I want 14 of them. I'll give you the one that's deflated. I mean, that's how he plays now. So I think if you would have brought him in, maybe worked him in slowly, it might have been totally different. Butterfly effect, man. This is that's a tough question. Good question. That was a tough one. Good question. I don't know. I think that they boned the pick because I think you could have done a lot of different things. And if he was a malcontent, you could have traded him off and got something for him.
Spring training is a buzz. Pitchers and catchers.
Can't wait for opening day stories.
Pitchers and catchers have now reported they are starting to work out, and now we can start looking forward to spring baseball. How are the Tigers going to shape up? What's going to happen? What are the storylines going to be in spring training? Great time of year. We can look forward to this nice weather, hopefully, and thawing out from this brutal cold weather, man. It's been brutal. Early question regarding the Tigers in spring training. Who do you think is going to be a more impactful player this season for the Tigers? Miguel Cabrera, Justin Verlander, or Victor Martinez? Who do you think is going to have more impact and have the most success this season?
It's got to be Justin Verlander. It's got to be. Victor Martinez might not even be right come opening day. There was a recent report that said that Miggy might be good, might not be good. It's up in the air. It depends. He just got out of his walking boot. It's got to be Justin Verlander. On top of the reports that are coming out, he's saying he put on 20 pounds of muscle, which I find really hard to believe, and I think these are exaggerated reports. If you remember last year, he had a horrible, horrible year. But I think he rushed that core surgery, that hernia surgery. I think he rushed back from it. So he didn't get to do his normal workout, his off-season training. So then he jumps into spring training, and he's still kind of dealing with the effects. And I don't think he ever really got comfortable. And then the season gets underway, and I just think he was off. So I think Justin Verlander comes out. I think Justin Verlander will maybe not do Cy Young style Justin Verlander, but I think he's going to be 10 times better than what he was last year. And you just don't know what's going on with Miggy's ankle right now. He still's got to get looked at by the doctors. V-Mart, that knee, I just really feel like at this point it's bionic. It just, let's put some screws in it and let's do whatever we got to do to make it like robo knee. And let's just get you out there. And you see that guy, he can't even run around the bases. I mean, he can hit the ball. That's what you want him for. You want him to hit the ball. But that guy can't run around the bases. He looks slow like a snail when he's on the base path. It's bad. So it's got to be Justin Verlander. It's got to. Out of those big three, because those are our big three, it's got to be JV.
When you hear of great radio shows like, Jim Rome Show, Valeni and Foster, how many of them do you think have their wives that call up their program?
None.
Okay, so I'm going to give you the chance to vote. Andrea has been listening for the last few minutes. She's on the line, so do you want me to dial her up or hang up on her? My wife, Andrea.
If she wants to talk, bring her on.
Hello, guys.
What's
Actually,
up?
I wanted to talk sports.
Oh, you want to talk sports?
Okay, we've been talking.
I do want to talk sports.
Oh,
what's up?
Go for it. What's your take?
I completely disagree with your Justin Verlander, Mr. Jock. I think he's going to come out and he's going to blow this season.
Ooh.
And he's going to blow because he doesn't have his competition for Max Scherzer.
Oh.
So the healthy competition is going to be gone, and he's going to stink it up the entire season.
But what about
That's
David Price? He's got David Price, though. David Price, a former Cy Young winner.
It's not the Max Scherzer competition. That was his biggest competition. That's who he was going up against. That's who he was fighting his job for. So now that Max Scherzer's gone, David Price, he's good. He's not a bad pitcher at all, but he's not Max Scherzer. And so that competition's going to be gone, and Verlander's too busy with his girlfriend. He's too focused on that. I don't think he's going to do well this season.
I have a question.
Yes.
Do you think that the Tigers have overpaid for guys that are in their early 30s, paying him so much money, and now he could be a little bit distracted with Kate Upton, whining and dining her, taking her all over the country? Do you think that the Kate Upton effect is real, or is something that us guys are just really taking?
She's got nice
too seriously?
boobs, dude. She has really nice boobs. I don't really think she's all that, but she got nice boobs.
I think it's real. I think that he doesn't want it as bad anymore. He had to prove a point when he was starting off. He did that. He's got the girl. He's comfortable. I don't think, last season I think he would have done better because he was fighting, but now he's not fighting anymore. He's going to be the lead pitcher. He just doesn't have the desire, I don't think, anymore. And I think now that Max Scherzer's gone, he's going to lose even more desire, and I just think he's going to be an average pitcher.
Now, Andrea, I do, this podcast provides us a chance to share fun stories and things like that. One of the stories that you told me, you had a mad crush on one of the Tigers back in the day who's no longer with us. Share your stories about your favorite Tiger and some of the things you used to do to maybe potentially stalk your favorite Tiger.
Was it Bobby Higginson?
I wouldn't call it stalking. stalking. Curtis Anderson used to be the guy. I would not call it stalking. I went with a group of people out to a game in Chicago, and we met his parents and saw him at a bar. But that's not stalking. But I did love Curtis Anderson. I thought he was a great player, and I was sad to see him go.
But yeah, every time he comes on the screen for the Mets, you're like, ooh, hold the channel. I want to watch his highlights. And he's striking out all the time.
Yeah, okay, honey. Yeah, okay.
So what did you think?
I don't have time for that. You keep me busy with these children at home.
Gotcha. So what did you think of this? What did you think of the podcast that you listened to so far?
So far, so good. I mean, I only heard you guys talking about the Tigers, but I saw that you guys were taking calls. So I wanted my chance to be on. Since I am the one who came up with the name and supported you guys and your number one fan, I thought that I should have a chance to be on the show.
You are all those things. All those things. You are, however, wrong about Justin Verlander. That's all.
Thank you. Good luck. Have a good show. Bye.
Your wife's so wrong, by the way.
Yeah, I disagree with her too. But she's got a good point. She brings up a point that a lot of people are talking about is that Justin Verlander, how motivated is he? He's got a big money. He's got the big time girlfriend, and he's the key now to the success of the organization. Mm-hmm. Look at these guys. Look at this list: Miguel Cabrera, Justin Verlander, Victor Martinez, all in their 30s, all big pieces, a big chunk of our payroll.
Almost 40. Wow. He's got a bad wheel, man. So yeah, no, for sure. All high priced talent with injuries, which is scary, very scary.
So it's interesting right now going into 2 seasons with the Tigers and the Lions. Our confidence is a little bit shaky. We're not as giddy as we are with some other things going on around town, especially with the Red Wings. Oh man, it's just one of those things where you want to be confident, but I think we can see the writing on the wall that maybe the Lions and the Tigers are poised for a step back, whereas the Red Wings might be on the step up, and they may be the team that we need to really focus on and get behind because the payoff might be much better for them than with other teams. So interesting. Good point, though. I do agree with you that JV is most likely to have an impact for this team. Great round of Jock Jams. You brought the noise. Good stuff. Stay with us after the break. We are going to talk Red Wings. We've had a chance now to see how Jimmy Howard has played, and we'll get a chance to evaluate it, talk some more about the key debate that's going around Detroit. Sergei Fedorov, should his number 91 jersey be retired, and how does he compare to the current great Pavel Datsyuk? Stay with us. If you're a fan of Michigan, then you have to check out UofMDiehards.com. Check them out on Twitter. Check out their Facebook page. They are a page that's dedicated to all things University of Michigan. They follow every game. They follow recruits. They have great interviews. UofMDiehards.com. DocNJock, check out that website quite a bit. If you're a fan of Michigan, there's no better website to check out than UofMDiehards.com.
I'm go blue, baby.
This is the Detroit Pistons dancing usher. My name is Shannon. And when I'm not at the Palace, I'm listening to Detroit Sports Podcast. Log in, listen in, have some fun with us. Love this group. Love the station.
All right, we got a chance now to talk about the Red Wings. Jimmy Howard, we talked last week with the Red Wings. We talked last week about Jimmy Howard. We talked about what we thought regarding Howard versus Mrazek. I said that Mike Babcock made the right choice in starting Mrazek versus Pittsburgh. I think now in retrospect, he made a mistake. He should have threw Howard to the Wolves, let him get peppered. He would have given up 5-6 goals, and then he would have bounced back versus Winnipeg. Mrazek, he didn't play good, and now the Red Wings in the last few games versus strong teams haven't played well, and a lot of things are kind of coming into focus in terms of what we can talk about. Howard, though, was not the reason why we lost versus Montreal. He stood on his head, he played good, and that game versus Montreal was very similar to a playoff game. One key bounce here or there, boom, late in the game, puck went by Jimmy Howard. It wasn't his fault. Perfect shot. The Red Wings lost 2-0. Concerning, though, versus Montreal and Tampa Bay, the Wings are 0-5 versus stronger opponents. They're not playing as well. And the same bug that bites us in the butt when we play stronger teams. Ice cold shooting, the offense has gone cold. Where has the offense gone? It's very concerning. Now, you get to learn about how the playoff structure is in terms of it's not like traditional seeding. The seeding in the NHL is all whacked out where the one in the division plays the second wild card and then the second seed in the division plays the third seed. It's whacked out and horrible. A lot of people are talking about it. The seeding now, potentially, a lot of people in Detroit are angry because we're going to play likely a team like Tampa Bay, a team like Pittsburgh, a team like the Rangers in the first round. Tough teams. And the new seeding is, a lot of people are like, wow, we love being in the East, but it's going to be more and more difficult coming out of the East because the teams are stacked in the East as compared to the West.
It's all right. You got the trade deadline right around the corner. You can make moves. I'm not worried about it. Not worried about it at all.
Okay.
Let's talk about Howard. I want to talk about Jimmy Howard because I was glued to the Montreal game and I was glued to the Pittsburgh game, and I thought Babcock should have pulled Mrazek after he gave up that second goal. I was calling for it on Twitter, and I just didn't think Mrazek looked good. He looked out of position, looked like he was fighting the puck the entire night. So after they put 4 in on him, the game was kind of over, and it was just, all right, well, let's get Jimmy some work. And Jimmy only faced 4 shots, didn't really face anything that was really crazy, but he looked good there. Against Montreal, he played very, very well. Played very, very well. Me and you can go back and forth on that goal. I feel like that goal was part of his fault. I know that he was screened horrendously, and I know that Pavel caught a piece of the ice and fell, and it kind of led to part of the turnover. But if Jimmy Howard didn't give up a gigantic rebound out to the dot, we wouldn't be talking about this right now. And Jimmy Howard's rebound control and his positioning on his play have probably been the biggest problems that I've had with Jimmy Howard throughout his career. Jimmy Howard does look good, and Jimmy Howard will be the goalie when the playoffs come around, and I feel like Jimmy Howard should have that right and should be in that spot. But there are things that, and this is just me being nitpicky and me just picking out issues with Jimmy Howard. I don't like his rebound control. I haven't liked it forever. I feel like he does a good job stopping the initial shot, but he doesn't corral the puck very well. I don't know if it's maybe his Vaughn pads, and I like Vaughn, and I in support to a Michigan product with Vaughn, but if you look at a guy like Carey Price, he gets hit with the puck sits there and drops right in front of him. Jimmy Howard gets hit with a puck, and it goes shooting out 5 feet, and the next thing you know, it's on somebody else's stick who's not wearing a winged wheel. And that's a huge issue I have. I just feel like his rebound control and sometimes his positioning, because I feel like he sometimes too fights the puck, and he just gets out of position, and he's sitting there trying to fight to get back into position, and that leads to openings, and he's always out of position, and that bothers me. And that's my big issue with Jimmy Howard. But I thought he looked very good against Montreal. I thought he did a very nice job. I thought that he played well. It was nice to see him come back against one of the better teams in the league, and in the number 1 team in our division, and for 57 minutes put up some shutout hockey. It just sucked that they gave up that goal with less than 3 minutes left.
That game versus Winnipeg, you can kind of give him a pass. He was very rusty, and the Red Wings versus Winnipeg was not Jimmy Howard's true reflection of his play. He was rusty. The game versus Montreal, you could say, okay, he does some good things. But yeah, the tough part is you're comparing Jimmy Howard to one of the top 3 goaltenders in the entire National Hockey League. Carey Price, you basically have to knock him out of games to get pucks by him. He's playing well. He's got a ton of shutouts, and his game is improving greatly. He's making an average Montreal team look phenomenal, looking like world beaters because if he can see the puck, he's more times than not going to stop it.
And he's always in position. And I'm glad you brought the Winnipeg game up because Jimmy was fighting the puck the entire night in the Winnipeg game.
You expect him to.
I didn't. I expected him to come out and look decent. He was fighting the puck. Dude, he gave up weak goals. Like, he would sit there, get the puck, and it would slip by him. And then he would be out of position. And then in the shootout on the broadcast, they're like, oh, if he can get a shutout here, it'd be a really good boost of confidence for him. But he was fighting the puck throughout the shootout. He didn't look good during the shootout. And now, good at all.
And now Mrazek's now officially sent back to Grand Rapids. We were a week early. We were saying, hey, on our blog page. But Mrazek's now gone back to the minors, back in Grand Rapids. Polkinen's picked up. Did the Red Wings pull the trigger on the trade for Franzen? No. You know who did? Nashville.
Mm-hmm. They just got that much better. Best team in the NHL.
Yeah, the best team in the NHL was like, okay, let's go out and get Franzen. No big deal. And they did it. Luckily, they're in the different conference, so we won't have to see them until hopefully in the Stanley Cup Finals. But your concern regarding the Red Wings play versus better teams and where the hell is this offense gone? Power outage.
I just feel like it's one of those things. I feel like they're just slumping. I think it'll come around, and I think it'll be okay. I mean, you got to realize that a guy like Tatar, a guy like Nyquist, they've gone ice cold. Certain games, Pavel Datsyuk's not showing up. He's kind of like, when I was watching the Winnipeg game, or not the Winnipeg game, when I was watching the Pittsburgh game, I was like, where is Pavel? Like, did he even get a shot? And I don't think he got a shot during the whole Pittsburgh game. He comes back the next night against Winnipeg and has a really good game. But it's too much up and down play. I think that it's just one of those slumps right now. They're just trying to work through it. I think it'll come back around and it'll be okay. But it is a little bit concerning when you're going up against the likes of a team like a Montreal, a Tampa Bay, a Pittsburgh, a New York Ranger team, even a New York Islander team, and you're struggling to get points and you're struggling to put the puck in the net. You got to do more. You have to be better. Whether it be on the power play, whether it be taking advantage of odd man rushes, you have to be better and you have to take advantage of your chances and you've got to deposit the puck in the net. A guy like Darren Helm. I like Darren Helm. Darren Helm's having a great season. Darren Helm has to put the puck in the back of the net. He has to. And I know that's not his position. That's not his job. He's not out there to score goals. That's not what he does. But he's got to go out there, and when you have a chance like that, you got to put the puck in the back of the net. You have to. You've got to. And he's having a really nice season right now. He's having a really good season. And I can't fault him for not putting the puck in the back of the net because that's not his job per se. But you need to see more from different guys. And you want to see more from different guys. And I think it'll turn around as we get closer to playoff time.
Sergei Fedorov was back in town last week, and he was inducted into the Michigan Sports Hall of Fame. Sergei Fedorov was the star of the show. A lot of people enjoyed having him back. We got a chance to reminisce about a group of guys that we all became close with in the Detroit Red Wings who won, I think Sergei Fedorov was part of 3 Stanley Cup winning teams. An interesting type of retrospective started to come about regarding Sergei Fedorov. Was he a Hall of Fame Red Wing? Should his number be retired? How should we look at him now? All that was talked about, and my opinion is, I think now that time has passed, it's time for Sergei Fedorov's number to be retired. Number 91, no one else should be able to wear it for the Red Wings. But when you look at it with the Ilitches, they are super stingy. They do not retire a whole bunch of numbers. You have to be in your game's Hall of Fame. You have to play 20 years plus for your organization. Because Alan Trammell and Lou Whitaker's numbers are not even retired for the Tigers. Sergei Fedorov is, one of those guys that kind of became a villain when he took off, when he held out. That season, that 98 season, he held out until like February, and then then Ilitch matched Carolina's offer. But then he went to Anaheim at another free agent year. A lot of fans were turned off by him. A lot of fans looked at him as a guy with so much talent, but didn't bring it every single night. So in Detroit, a blue-collar town, that does not fly at all. That's looked at as, that's booed, that's frowned upon. But as time has passed, as we get a chance to reflect, Sergei Fedorov's number should be retired. He should be looked at as one of the elite players. He single-handedly won us a Stanley Cup game versus Washington in '98. He was so fast, so dominant, and in an era where players' egos were offended easily, Scotty Bowman put him on defense. He did his job, and he didn't whine a whole hell of a lot. He did his job and actually shined. All respect to Sergei Fedorov. It was nice to see him. I think his number should be retired. I think he should be looked at as a player that was very significant. He should be looked at as a player that was a very significant piece for this Red Wing team back in the 90s.
I agree with you. He played 13 very dominant seasons for the Detroit Red Wings. He did a lot of great things. I mean, just go to YouTube and YouTube Sergei Fedorov's name and just watch some of the highlights that you get to see. The guy was amazing. He was incredible to watch. Yes, the way he left leaves a sour taste in everybody's mouth, and it's really unfortunate the way things kind of played out. I think there was a lot more to do with him wanting to get out of Steve Yzerman's shadow and kind of sit there and try to go out and flourish on his own than him kind of stay here and almost play second fiddle to Stevie Y. But that being said, Sergei Fedorov was amazing to watch. He was an amazing hockey player. His stats back it up. I feel like his jersey should be hanging up there as well. I mean, if you noticed, nobody ever wears 91, so why not just retire the damn thing for the Wings?
Yeah, 91's not a common number.
Right. But I would just say retire the damn thing. Why not? I think he deserves it. I think him coming back and him playing in the Winter Classic and playing in the alumni game really helped kind of heal some old wounds. Him coming back for his honor with the Michigan Sports Hall of Fame kind of helps. Every time he comes back into town, I feel like it helps heal the old wounds that are there and makes everything a lot better. Because the way he left was brutal. It was bad. It was almost like he stuck his middle finger up at the Illiches and the Red Wing organization and said, yo, I'm out. Like, nothing you can do, I'm out. Screw you. And just went. And you got to remember, the Wings broke him out of Russia, brought him here. And it was almost like some James Bond type maneuvers to get him here, to get him to sign a contract with the Wings. And then they give him a Corvette on top of it. And they're like, here, whatever you want. And next thing you know, he's banging like a 14-year-old Anna Kournikova. And the Wings are like, it's cool, whatever you want to do, Sergei. It's all good. We'll take care of it. And they took care of a lot of stuff for him. So yeah, I think every time he comes back, he is very gregarious, very charismatic, and I think he's very polite when he comes back, and it helps to kind of just soften everything that's there, because there's a lot of tension there, and I think he keeps breaking it down. And I think eventually his number will be retired, as it should be.
Okay, and then the fun part of, talking sports, shooting the breeze, talking about Detroit sports is comparison. We have a player right now on the current roster who we've watched grow and develop, a Russian player with very similar skills, but with maybe the ability to step up his game and put the puck in the net and make key plays for us as well. From his rookie season on, Pavel Datsyuk has left an imprint on this Red Wings organization. I mean, once that dude touches the puck and he gets it, look out, man. It's a highlight reel almost. He can keep the puck. He has the ability to put the puck in the net, make great plays, so many highlights. He brings forth a lot of effort. He's getting up there in age, but now we can kind of sit back a little bit and reflect and compare and debate a little bit. In your opinion, who was the better hockey player, Sergei Fedorov or Pavel Datsyuk?
What an opportunity to have a great choice at two great Red Wings. Like, do you realize what we're talking about here? Like, these are two top 10, top 15 players in this organization. Two amazing talents. And it's really close. It's very, very close. But I'm going to take Sergei Fedorov. I feel like he was faster. He was more of a goal scorer. He was I don't know if he was more creative, but he was definitely faster and he was more of a goal scorer. And when it came time to crunch time, that guy would win you more games than Pavel Datsyuk has. Datsyuk hasn't played his 13th season yet. He's in it right now. He's going on it. But I'm going to take Fedorov in his 13 years that he wore a wing wheel over Pavel Datsyuk.
Yeah, in their prime, I think Sergei Fedorov was a better player, more talented, more speed. But I think overall, in terms of consistency, ability to lead the team, ability to make plays a little bit longer, and his dedication to Detroit, I think Pavel Datsyuk wins the crown. And the reason is this. A guy like Sergei Fedorov was so talented, but yet I think that he was misperceived in that because he was so talented, people thought that he took nights off, but I just think that he could have gotten even to another level. I think that his time in Detroit can be also looked at as a talent that maybe wasn't fully reached. I think Pavel Datsyuk has accomplished that in his career in Detroit. How lucky was Pavel Datsyuk, his rookie season, to play in such meaningful games? What a great time. What a lucky guy Pavel was when he came into the league. He got to watch some great players like Brett Hall, Steve Yzerman, Lidstrom. He came in at the right time, and I think he fulfilled his talent. He's a guy that is a great leader in the locker room, a guy that's a quiet leader, but a guy that when he's needed, steps up. He's quietly having a great season this year. And although it sucks that he's a little bit older and that from time to time he gets nicked up, but he has also a lot of highlight reel goals. And he's a guy that without the Wings would struggle mightily. He's been a key force in the reason why they've made the playoffs so long. But in my opinion, I think overall the better player has been Pavel Datsyuk. At their peak, I agree with you. Sergei Fedorov was the better player when they were at their best. Longevity-wise, in terms of the totality of the equation, I like Pavel Datsyuk.
I think Datsuk's a better leader, and I think that's kind of what you're getting at here. In that locker room, I think Datsuk's more important to that locker room keeping it together than Sergei Fedorov was. But talent on the ice, I'm going to debate you all day. I think I'm going to go Fedorov. Like, if I had to sit there and we had to sit there and put our chips on the table and push all in, and you're going to take Datsyuk, I'm going to take Fedorov. I think Fedorov wins all day long.
Yeah, I don't think,
You can't go wrong. You can't go wrong either way. Come on.
Well, you can in that Sergei was a guy that
he was a little bit flaky.
He was a little bit flaky.
Exactly. That's what it was. He was flaky.
Yeah.
Pavel's not.
Yeah.
Pavel, from the moment he stepped on the ice wearing a Detroit Red Wing sweater, he's been amazing. And he gives it to you every single game. game in, game out. And you're right, Fedorov would sit there and sometimes coast. But you know what? When Scotty Bowman needed another defenseman, Fedorov went out there and he played exceptional defense. Played exceptional. And yes, Datsyuk can do the same exact thing. You've seen him do it time and time again. But I'm just going to go Fedorov all day long. I think his speed and I think his goal-scoring ability puts him a scotch above Datsyuk and his creativity.
Do you think as his career winds down that he has a better chance to get his number retired than Sergei Fedorov? Or I think that...
I think it's hands down without a doubt. I think Datsyuk's number will be retired.
Datsyuk's will be retired?
Yes, Datsyuk and Zetterberg, hands down, their numbers will be retired.
Okay.
No question about it. None whatsoever. What I think really hurts Fedorov is the way he left and him leaving, him not finishing his career here. Because if you look at the guys who get their number retired for the Wings, they've either done enough or they're recognized to be a Red Wing, right? Gordie Howe has gone on and played for 3-4 different teams, but everybody says that Gordie Howe is a Red Wing, right? He's not recognized for playing with the Hartford Whalers. He's not recognized for playing with other teams. He's recognized with being a Detroit Red Wing. Same thing with Sid Abel. He's recognized with being a Detroit Red Wing.
Steve Yzerman.
Steve Yzerman never played for anybody else. So, guys like that. Terry Sawchuk, he bounced around. He played for the Wings for the longevity of his career, but he played on different teams. But you recognize Terry Sawchuk as a Detroit Red Wing. So when you say Sergei Fedorov, I know me and you maybe think Detroit Red Wing, but we also sit there and we think, oh, he left for Anaheim. He played for Washington. He bounced around a little bit. And it's not as prevalent. And I think the way he left leaves a sour taste in everybody's mouth. And like I said, I think it softens it a little bit when he comes back because he does a really good job kind of massaging that. But that's what hurts him. And I think Datsyuk will end his career wearing a Detroit Red Wing sweater. I don't think he'll play for anybody else in the NHL. He might go over to the KHL and maybe he'll finish his career off in the KHL making 8,000 rubles and not paying any taxes on it. But I think he'll finish his NHL career in a Detroit Red Wing sweater.
All right, to wrap the podcast, I know you've looked at the Wings schedule. Brutal stretch, playing the Kings, playing Nashville, playing San Jose. You think they come out of it getting points, or do we have some question marks the next time we visit the Wings?
No, I think we'll be okay. I think the Wings are going to sit there. They're going to do some tinkering. Leave it to Babcock to kind of sit there and figure it out. I think the Wings will be okay. I think we'll get a few points here. I mean, I don't think they're going to sit there and they're going to steamroll anybody while they're trying to work their way out of the slump. I mean, you're playing Chicago, you're going to be playing Anaheim. Whenever we go on the West Coast, it's always tough. We got to sit there, we got to play Nashville. So I think by the time February is done and over with, I think this team will have won, what do we got? Six. I think the Wings will sit there and I think they'll probably win 3. They'll lose 1 in overtime and they'll drop 2. So 3-2-1.
Very confident. I don't know about that. This is a brutal stretch. It's that time of the year where sometimes the Wings tend to struggle. They're going to be playing a lot of games on the road. Howard needs to be a little bit more consistent. So our eyes will be watching closely as to what happens in the future with our Detroit Red Wings. Because another great podcast, 90 minutes just blinks. Just like that, man. The saying is true. Time flies when you're having fun. This is always a fun time, and I enjoy doing this. Another great podcast, 80 down, hopefully another 180 to go. Good times, man. Another good podcast. Thank you.
Oh, for sure, dude. I love doing this. This is great.
For the Jock, Adam Strozinski, I am the Doc, John Macaroon. Our number is 248-230-4567. Look for announcements on Twitter. Thank you to those who tweet us at Detroit Podcast, who follow us on Facebook. Thank you to those that visit our website, DetroitSportsPodcast.com. We greatly appreciate your support. Episode 80 in the books. We're out.
Go Wings.
Making magic on the mics. DocNJock, much to everyone's delight.
I don't know why Darvin Ham sticks out to me. It just, whatever.
Turn up.
Mike will make.
We gon' always get money, man. Young Jeezy. Big Sean. Juicy J. Let's get it. Every time I go out, you know I got to show out. Every time I go out,